let's be clear. The scientific method, in my view, is the greatest intellectual accomplishment of the human race since it emerged from its arboreal beginnings. It's an incredible thing. And the people that pursue science are doing extraordinary things. When you build a rocket to go to the moon, it can't be built on hunches, guesses, prayers, or anything other than the hardest of science, or it won't work. It won't even get 1 millimeter off the ground. And this is true about a lot of things we do. Okay, so what's the situation on science on this issue? Well, first of all, about 20 years ago, this is 20 years ago, a poll was done of just scientists on their view with respect to the phenomena. It's similar to many of the polls that have been done with the general public. 50% of the American people consistently poll this phenomenon as extraterrestrial. Okay. Well, a poll was done of just scientists, and guess what? 50% of the scientists polled said this is extraterrestrial. Okay. That's interesting. All scientists, they weren't just doing astronomers, all scientists, biologists, archaeologists, whatever. 50%. Okay, great. It gets more interesting. The best statistics that I have seen on the conservative side, and this is something I'm going to be talking about soon, and I'm about to publish something of interest, 2% of the American people are contactees, physical contactees. It's a big number, it's about 7 million, which means that 2% of the scientists are contactees. You just alluded to that. Okay, so we got 2% of the scientists are contactees, that's a big number, and you've got 50% believe it's extraterrestrial, so we must have a significant scientific engagement of the issue. Peer-reviewed papers, institutions, all of that. No, we don't have any of that. We have the odd scientist that has stepped out, right? We know some of them. John Mack was a scientist, psychiatrist. He stepped out. Harvard tried to sack him. Cost him $250,000. And a few others like that. But that's it. And all the scientists working at the universities who are teaching and doing a little research, how many fully accredited programs on the phenomenon exist in the 5,000 colleges and universities? 0. Okay. And so where's the research being done on the energy? Well, the research on the energy issue is primarily being done by non-college trained garage inventors, okay, who are very smart, with the odd, BS in physics, sprinkled in there. And they're cruising along, and again, the physics is there, right? And one of the reasons it's there is that people have been seeing these things flying around for the last 60 years, and it's just like you see the birds fly, you come up with an aerodynamic wing. You see an anti-gravity craft coming, you start looking for the reasons for that. That's what humans do. They're very good at it. And so you got all these inventors, and they all keep coming up with little things. Well, guess what happens there? This is the citizen science situation. They file for a patent. The patent gets eminent domain. They file for a patent. It's not accepted, right? Their lab gets closed down. They get closed down, right? All kinds of suppressions all over the board, some of which get to the level of what they call executive action. So being an inventor in this, not easy. So you have a massive scientific suppression that covers the entire scientific community, college level. You've got, citizen scientists being, wow, in the name of what? Right? In the name of maintaining the truth embargo. And so when you corrupt science at that level, guess what? It spreads. If you're a scientist with noble intentions, worked like hell to get that PhD, went through the whole rigmarole. I could have gotten one, but I would have had a nervous breakdown. And so, and you get appraised of this, this is going on, and most of them do. Basically, you're compromised. You're in, right? You've just signed up. And so that's going on, and so now you are vulnerable to every other manner of corruption that the government wants to do. Now, this happened in the Soviet Union, it happened in Nazi Germany, but it's not supposed to happen here, but it is. And so in the climate area, you've got corruption, you've got violations of all kinds of principles, you've got a breakdown in the system. And so essentially, we have lost a significant percentage of scientific advances since 1947 because a blanket was put over the whole shebang and said, look, you can do your science, but it's underneath the blanket. And that's a tragedy. And just one of the costs of the truth embargo.
All reports look good from here in the blockhouse at this time. All aspects of the mission go. T-minus 30 seconds and counting. We'll get ignition of those 8 engines in the first stage at the 3-second mark in the countdown. Now,